We've all been online and seen those little online quizzes off to the side that says, take an online quiz, see what your IQ is. There you have different types of tests for all kinds of different things today. They have MCATs for getting into medical school. We have tests to get into school. We have tests to graduate school. Everything is revolved around tests. And something that most of those tests came from are IQ quizzes. I'm a psychology major, and IQ quizzes are something that we discuss often. And we take for granted that we would think that these would be accurate, that if we were to take this test, it would be able to give us an accurate score, like tests are supposed to. However, that is often not the case. IQ tests are an antiquated way of measuring intelligence, and they are in need of reform. Today I'm going to tell you why we use IQ tests, how accurate they are, and some prejudices that have arisen because of them. Let me start off with why. IQs are supposed to measure your intelligence. However, there is no agreed definition of intelligence. In the 2013 book Psychology Core Concepts, it is defined as the mental capacity to acquire knowledge, reason, and solve problems effectively. The reason that it gained popularity in the United States is for three reasons. All of it started in around the time of World War I. We had a giant influx of immigration. There was more immigrants coming into the United States than there had ever been before. Also, we have passed new education laws that had stated that we needed to have all of our children in school for a certain period of time, and schools were flooded with these new students that they were not prepared for. Also, with the World War II happening, everybody was signing up for the Army, and the Army needed a way to assess these individuals to see how smart they were, where they should be placed. However, these are no longer issues. In his TED Talk, Professor Bob Sternberg of Oklahoma State University said one of the reasons we might still be using it is because of inertia. We've used it for almost 100 years, since 1905. Why should we stop now? We have an updated version now called the Binet Stanford edition. However, it doesn't differentiate that much between the original in 1905. Now I'm going to talk about the accuracy of the measurements. In Dr. Alan Kaufman's book, he says you can test somebody 12 times and you'll get 12 different IQ scores. And this is coming from somebody who makes these kinds of tests for a living. Their inaccuracies are common, and it's well known in the professional world that they cannot be relied on all the time. They are inaccurate in the way that they give verbal questions. Kaufman says that if a person comes in more relaxed and ready to take a test, they had a good night's sleep, then they're more likely to do better. The same person can come in later on stressed out and make much lower. Also, the examiner can skew the results. The examiner can lower the choices that a person might have to like a 50-50, like, oh, is it this or is it this? Which they're not supposed to do. However, it has been recorded and it can lead to higher test scores. There are also some errors in calculating scores. There are ambiguous answers, such as, what is the definition of this word? And we have a problem drawing the line as to what the definition actually is. There are also miscalculations in the clerical part. In a 1996 study, they found that 7 master's degree holders had miscalculated 42% of their forms. Also, I will talk about the bias and attitudes that have arisen because of IQ tests. In Kaufman's book, he says in a 1999 study that there were 2 examiners. One had an overinflated score, and the other had very, very low scores. They found that the person with the low scores had been very precise, had stuck by the book, was cold, and very unforgiving in the way he presented it. However, the person with the overinflated scores was supportive and helpful, and in a way led people to the answer, giving them a high score. Another challenge is that there is no definition of intelligence, as I've stated before. How are we to measure something that we don't even know what it is? Some of the prejudices have arisen because we have given people an actual concrete numerical worth. I can say, I'm worth 120, that's my IQ. You can say, I'm worth 140. And because of that, the 140 person might look down on the 120. And because of this, prejudices can arise. One of the ways that people are prejudiced is in racism. In World War II, documents were released from the IQ scores saying that a person's intelligence is connected to their race and country of origin. However, these statistics can also be used to show which countries have lower socioeconomical status, as well as showing how a underdeveloped country, such as a third world country, can hinder growth to a person's intelligence. Also, with these new immigrants, not many of them knew English. They came to America because of hard times in their country or political reasons. However, these IQ tests were given in English. So if you spoke Spanish and very minimum English, they slapped a stupid sticker on you and sent you on your way. In Meredith Phillips and Christopher Jenks' book, The Black and White Test Score Gap, it says that there is a giant gap between white test scores and black test scores. Black people tend to score below 82% of white people, and because of that, sometimes there is racism there. Sometimes white people like to say, "Oh, black people are inherently wrong," even though black people tend to have low socioeconomical status. There also is a prejudiced view towards low-scoring individuals. We've heard words like moron, imbecile, idiot, retard. These all have negative connotations. However, these were medical terms used to describe people with low-scoring test scores. These people may have had problems such as Alzheimer's, Asperger's, autism. However, people have taken these terms to use it in a negative light. Today, I hope you have understood why we use IQ scores, how accurate they are, and what some prejudices are. In the past 100 years, we have used the same test to measure the same people, even though everything else in our life has changed. And I hope in this presentation you've learned and have been told why we need reformation in our IQ scores.